Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our presentation. In this video, we would like to explain one-way ANOVA repeated previous material. Before we start the discussion, we would like to introduce our group. We are from group 9, which of two people, me, Fatma, and my partner, Olida Zia. And now we start to introduction. The one-way analysis of variance or ANOVA is used to determine whether there are any statistically significant differences between the means of two or more independent groups. Also, we tend to only see it used when there are a minimum of 3 rather than 2 groups. For example, we could use a one-way ANOVA to understand whether exam performance differ based on test anxiety levels among students, dividing students into 3 independent groups: low, medium, and high stress students. And also, it is important to realize that the one-way ANOVA is an omnibus test statistic and cannot tell you which specific groups were statistically significantly different from each other. It only tells you that at least 2 groups were different, since you may have 3, 4, 5, or more groups in your study design. Determining which of these groups differ from each other is important. You can do this using a post hoc test. And next, connection. This quick start guide shows you how to carry out a one-way ANOVA using SPSS statistics, as well as interpret and report the results from this test. Since the one-way ANOVA is often followed up with a post hoc test, we also show you how to carry out a post hoc test using SPSS statistics. And however, before we introduce you to this procedure, you need to understand the different assumptions that your data must meet in order for a one-way ANOVA to give you a valid result. And next, assumptions. First part, when you choose to analyze your data using a one-way ANOVA, part of the process involves checking to make sure that the data you want to analyze can actually be analyzed using a one-way ANOVA. Second part, you need to do this because it is only appropriate to use a one-way ANOVA if your data possesses 6 assumptions that are required for a one-way ANOVA to give you a valid result. In practice, checking for these 6 assumptions just adds a little bit more time to your analysis. And the third part, requiring you to click a few more buttons in SPSS statistics when performing your analysis, as well as think a little bit more about your data, but it's not a difficult task. For the next example, a manager wants to raise the productivity at his company by increasing the speed at which his employees can use a particular spreadsheet program, as he doesn't have the skills in-house. The employees are an external agency which provides training in this spreadsheet program. They offer 3 courses, a beginner, intermediate, and advanced course. He is unsure which course is needed for the type of work they do at his company. So he sends 10 employees on the beginner course, 10 on the intermediate, and 10 on the advanced course. When they are returned from the training, he gives them a problem to solve using the spreadsheet program and times how long it takes them to complete the problem. He then compares the 3 courses, beginner, intermediate, advanced, to see if there are any differences in the average time it took to complete the problem. Setup in SPSS statistic. In SPSS statistic, we split the group for analysis by creating a grouping variable colleagues course and give the beginner course a value of 1, the intermediate course a value of 2, and the advanced course a value of 3. Time to complete the set problem was entered under the variable 9 time. In our insight, one-way ANOVA quiz, we show you how to correctly enter data in SPSS statistic to run a one-way ANOVA. You can learn about our exact data setup contact in general on our Features data setup. Alternately, see our generic quick start guide entering data in SPSS statistic. And the next text procedure in SPSS statistic. The X step below show you how to analyze your data using a one-way ANOVA in SPSS statistic when the basic assumption in the first section assumption have not been followed. At the end, the third step, we show you how to interpret the result from this text. If you are looking for help to make sure your data met assumption and which are required when using a one-way ANOVA and can be tested using SPSS statistic, you can learn more on our structured one-way ANOVA. The way is 1. Click Analyze Compare Mean one-way ANOVA on the top menu, as shown below. 2. You will be presented with the one-way ANOVA fields. And 3. Transfer the dependent variable time into the dependent list box and the independent variable course into the vector box using the appropriate button as shown below. And 4. Click on the first half button, tick the 2K checkbox as shown below. And 5. Click on the continue button. And 6. Click on the option button, tick the descriptive checkbox in the statistic area as shown below. And 7. Click on the continue button. And 8. Click on the OK button. Conclusion: one-way ANOVA is a statistical technique used to compare the mean of 3 or more independent groups to determine if there are significant differences among them. The basic idea is to partition the total variance in the data into two components, the variance between the group and the variance within the groups. The analysis involves calculating the if statistic, which is the ratio of the variance between groups to the variance within groups. If the offset F value is greater than the critical F value, it suggests that there are significant differences among at least some of the group's mean. One-way ANOVA assumption that the data with each group are normally distributed and have equal variance. If the null hypothesis is rejected,
Post hoc tests such as log2k, HSD, or bit-for-any correction can be performed to identify which specific groups differ from each other. In summary, one-way ANOVA is a valuable tool for exploring difference in means across multiple groups, providing insight into whether these differences are statistically significant. Maybe that's all we can convey. Less and more, please forgive. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.